on this computer.
Mhm.
Okay, got
So
it.
it's gonna save on you. It's recording and it's gonna save on your computer.
Okay, so I can review after class.
Correct, yeah. After our session ended, it's gonna pop up the windows. So make sure you're not gonna close it until it's been finished.
Okay, got it.
Download. Now it's recording. Okay, let me share my screen. Give me a second. Share my entire screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Superstore.
Okay, that's super fine. This is the text format. First, I'm going to open it, then we're going to save as Excel original file. So CSV, whenever you see the CSV, TXT, these are just the text format. So you won't be able to save the formulas in the text format. It has to be in the original format.
Okay.
I'm going to open it. Let me first save this as.
Wow, a lot of data.
Yeah. I will explain what is that. It's very simple. So we're going to use this sample, this data set, when we're going to practice Tableau. So creating the dashboards, worksheets, charts, graph, cards, KPI. In Tableau, we're going to use the same data set. So I go to the file, save as. I'm going to change the file extension from CSV to XLSX.
Okay.
That's the original. So I'm going to browse. I created a folder, your name. I'm going to save in the same folder as CSV. Okay. Let's first, so as you see, we have only one tab. Worksheet down here, it says Superstore Practice _ practice. This is our data sheet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust column width. In order to adjust the column width altogether, I'm going to select from column A through column X. If I hover my mouse over line, divider line between M, N, or any divider, like maybe between O, P, as long as you selected all the columns, you hover on it, the mouse pointer is changed to this shape. When you double click on it, it's going to adjust accordingly. So it's going to adjust all the column width. So it's going to, for example, under column sheet mode, it's going to search for the lengthy text, for example, to see which one is the longest text. So far, this is, for example, standard long. Then it's going to adjust the column according to the longest text in the same column in the different cells. Okay. That's how we adjust column width for all the columns from column A through column X. This is just the orders placed by customers. So these are the order ID. We have order date, the shipment date, the type of ship mode, customer ID, customer name, segment, consumer segment. That's the address of the customers.
Okay.
The market that customer is trying to make an order, place an order. The product comes with that order, category, subcategory. That's the category, product category, and product subcategory. The name of the product. And here we have sales, quantity, and the discount. I think column discount is in percentage. Like if there is some discount on each order, so we're gonna apply like 10% discount here, for example. Column profit. We have column profit, then we have shipping costs, and the last column is the order priority. The last column. It's just showing, for example, what is the priority of the order. Like the first order is a high priority, the second one is a critical, etc. Okay. So now this file, this table is given. This is the simple data range. This is given. Now you're going to create a couple of pivot tables to summarize, to aggregate that. For example, let's say you wanted to see the total profit in segment consumer. One way you would go, for example, you're gonna apply the filter. You're gonna select, for example, column A. Let's say from column A all the way through column X. Then you go here, you're gonna go to, for example, Home tab on the Excel ribbon. Then you're gonna locate editing grouping. Under editing grouping, sort filter.
Mm-hmm.
So here we're gonna apply filter. If you never know like how to use a pivot table, then we have to go this simple way, this simple approach to calculate the total profit per segment consumer. So what we would do, we would go here, select the segment, filter by consumer. Okay. Then because now the table is being filtered by consumer,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go to under profit. Then we can select them all. I'm gonna select all the profit. If I select it, I can go here, select the first cell, then select all the way down. So Control Shift arrow down key.
Oh, okay. Shift down.
It's Control Shift arrow down key. It's gonna take me,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna select them all the way down to the last non-empty cell. Okay, once I select it, now I can see the total profit here. You see that it says sum
Okay.
740,000, 749,213. That's the total profit for segment
Mm-hmm.
consumer.
Mm-hmm.
You can apply, for example, you would say, okay, I need to find the total profit within segment consumer for country. Let's choose the country like Armenia, for example. So we have 3 orders under segment consumer in country Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
The total profit within that country is this one. So imagine like this is going to take so much time. So you have to go one by one, filter by consumer, filter by country, and just write it down on the paper. And it's going to take so much time.
Okay.
How we can aggregate, how we can summarize the total profit per country and per consumer. So we're going to use the pivot table tools. Let me clear the filter. In order to clear filter, you have 2 options. You can leave all this drop-down filter remain. Then you're gonna go to the sort filter, drop down, you're gonna click clear. That's how you clear the filter. It's gonna clear the filter for all the columns.
Okay.
Or you can clear the filter one by one. As you notice, we have 2 filters applied. One filter under segment,
Mm-hmm.
another filter we apply under country. So you may say, I need just clear the filter for segment. This is clear filter from segment. Or maybe like this is maybe huge table, so you have to scroll to the right, left to find which column has been filtered. It's very tedious and time consuming. So it's better to go to the filter, sort filter, drop down, and click on the clear. It's going to clear filter on all the columns. If you're going to remove this drop down filter, again, you can come back to the sort filter, drop down, and click on the filter funnel shape. It's going to remove the entire drop down.
Okay.
Another way to remove the filter drop down, you need to go to the data tab on the Excel ribbon here. So you're going to locate sort filter. There is a funnel
Mm-hmm.
filter icon. It's enable or so you're going to need to click on it to disable the filter. So now the filter is gone.
Okay.
That's another way of clearing the filter or removing the filter from the list. Okay. Now we need to create a pivot table. So to create a pivot table, first I need to select the range, which is from A1. Again, I can use Shift arrow right key, or I can use Control Shift arrow right key, it's going to take me to the last row, last column on the same row.
Mm-hmm.
Again, from here, if I push Control Shift arrow down, it's going to take me to the last row. So as you see, by Control Shift right arrow, Control Shift down arrow, I select the entire range.
Okay.
It never selected the empty. It just selected where that table or range ends. Ends here, start in A1. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in order to create or insert the pivot table, we're going to go to the Insert tab under Excel ribbon. So you're going to find Tables grouping here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have Pivot Table drop
Pivot
down,
table. Okay.
then you're going to choose the first one. It says from, so it says, are you going to create pivot table out of the table or range? So we have to choose the first one. So it's going to open up this dialog. This dialog box is saying what is the range that you're going to create out of it. So this is the range A1 through X 51,291.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tab name. So it's saying go to this tab, select this range. So it says choose where you want that pivot table to be placed. So we can choose new workbook, new worksheet. And if you're gonna add to the existing worksheet, you need to select existing. Then you have to find some empty places to place that pivot table here. But for
Mm-hmm.
now, because this is gonna be confusing, it's gonna be easy to understand. It's better to create a new worksheet. We
Okay.
choose option new worksheet. So these we don't for now we don't need focus on. This is gonna be when we're going to talk about the Power Query in the session, later session, then we can talk about this, how we're gonna add to the data model. For now, just skip that part and we're gonna hit OK. All right, so it takes us to here, new worksheet, and is renamed as you notice, it's renamed as a sheet number 1.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, you can rename it. In order
Okay.
to rename the worksheet, you can double click on it or you can right click and choose rename. Let's name this one pivot table. I'm gonna use PT stands for pivot table underscore practice. Practice. That's the name of the worksheet. Okay. The pivot table consists of 2 sections. One section is where we're going to build a pivot table. That's the report here.
Mm-hmm.
Right-hand side, it's gonna be list of all the fields. Fields, which means column headings. Market, product, this column, the title, column titles. So in the pivot table, it's called fields. So we have fields row all the way up to profit, shopping costs, and order priority.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this field to build the pivot table report. So the pivot table report consists of 4 sections. Filter, see that here, filters,
Mm-hmm.
columns, rows, values. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drag the countries field, country fields, drag and drop onto row section because we need to list the total profit per country. So I'm gonna see what is the aggregate profit per country. So what I do select the country. Then I'm gonna drag and drop onto row section. As soon as I drag row to row section, what it's gonna do is gonna remove any duplicate and it's gonna return the unique list of country names. Okay,
Okay.
these are all the country names. It's been sorted alphabetically, A to Z. Okay, so as you see, when I'm not in the body of the pivot table, outside the pivot table, that field field section is gone.
Mhm.
So in order for you to work within the pivot table, you have to make sure you're in the body of the pivot table. You have to select it. This is going to appear on the right
Okay.
hand side. Okay. Now we need to summarize. So we need to take the profit. Let's choose the profit. Then we're going to drop onto value section. Okay.
Mhm.
So now it's showing. So as you see, it's just real quick. Instead of going one by one, filtering, applying filter, highlighting, write it down, take a note like for the total of the profit, we just simply create a pivot table, listed all the countries,
Mhm.
and then sum of the profit. Okay. So the profit, it's in the USD currency. So we're going to change to currency format. In order to change the currency format, you may say, okay, so you have on the home tab, Excel ribbon, on the number, you have $sign. You may go to select, or you can just select from drop down and then choose currency. But
Mhm.
I would not suggest changing the format directly from the home tab. So pivot table has an option to change the format from using the tools. So what you're gonna do, first you have to make sure you're in the body of the pivot table. You go to sum of the profit drop down under
Mhm.
values. Then you're gonna locate value field settings
Okay.
and click on it. It opens up this dialog box, value field settings. So we have one command button. One button is called number format. We click on it. So this is going to apply for all the values, the profit. So we need to choose currency. Let's say we're going to do 2 decimal places. It's going to be this form. It's going to add the $sign in front of it, comma, and then it's going to use 2 decimal places. Okay. I'm going to hit OK. Another things you notice here that when you open up the value field settings, that's the custom name. So you can change this one, for example, let's do total profit. So instead of sum of profit, we just change the name to the total profit. Okay. If I hit OK, the title, the column title is changed to total profit, and the format is going to change the currency to decimal place. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, we need to add another aggregate value to the current table, pivot table. So this is showing, for example, the total profit in Afghanistan, like Bania, Algeria, etc., Angola, etc. What if we need to find the average profit per order? In order to find the average profit per order in each country, so we're gonna again select the profit, right? We're gonna drag it and drop onto values just after total profit here. If you hover your mouse, you drag it, it's gonna show that green line, which means it's where you're going to place that profit. Default always is a sum of the profit. We already have the sum, right? But we need to change to average. Change to average, just simply we're gonna click on the drop down. Again, value field settings. So these are all the aggregate aggregate function. You can use sum, count. So for now, we're gonna choose average. Okay. we leave the name as average of profit, or we can just name it average AVG profit per order, something like that. Okay. Similar to total profit, we need to change number format to currency to decimal places. And we're gonna hit OK. And hit OK. Now, within the same pivot table, as you notice, we added two separate aggregate functions. One was the sum, another was average profit per order. Let's say, for example, we have the total, we have the average. So it's saying in Afghanistan, we sold like over 5,460. And on average, we made this $99, almost $100 per order. That's what we make profit out of one order in first country. What if we need to find what is the maximum and what is the minimum profit in each country? So that comes from the profit table, right? That comes from the profit table. So again, we're gonna select profit field. We're gonna select the profit field, drag it, drop onto values after average. Again, click drop down, value settings. We're gonna change to max. Again, we're gonna change the number format to currency, to decimal. That's so the maximum order customer placed in Afghanistan was total $848. And what is the minimum order placed in Afghanistan? Again, you have to select the profit. You're gonna drag drop here. I'm going to change the minimum. Oh, I forgot to change. I forgot to change the number format. Yes. Yeah. Currency to decimal. All right. So as you recall, in the first tab, Superstore practice, what we did, we filtered by segment consumer, and we wanted to find the total profit in segment consumer for different countries. We need to apply the filter. We're gonna filter by segment. So notice here we have filter section of the pivot table. We're gonna go to find field segment, which is here. We're gonna drag and drop onto filter section. So once you did that, so it's gonna add the filter above the pivot table right here. You can go here and select one consumer, or check or tick select multiple items. This way you have option to select one, two, or more than two segments. So far we need to select only consumer. So once I hit OK, it's gonna change. These are the total profit, maximum, average, minimum of the profit per country in segment consumer. So you can go ahead and then select, for example, corporate.
Okay.
That's the filter. We have another filter tools. It's called Slicer, which is easy to use and it is very user friendly. So I'm gonna first clear the filter. Then I'm gonna take the segment, drag it back to fields area to remove it from filter. Okay. Once you are in the body of the pivot table, so as you notice, in addition to black tabs on the Excel ribbon, we have two green tabs here at the end.
Mhm.
These are called contextual tabs. These are the tabs associated, related to the features you're working with. So far, the feature you're working is the pivot table. When you are in the body of the pivot table, any cells in the body of the pivot table, you should see these two tabs. If I go outside of the pivot table, this the field, pivot table fields on the right-hand side, and these two contextual tabs will be gone.
Okay.
So in order to show those two green tabs, make sure you have to be in the body of the pivot table. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I go to pivot table analyze tab here. We have multiple tools, multiple things in relation to pivot table. So we go to the filter grouping here. We have slicer, and I click on the slicer. So it's saying what slicer you need to create. We can create a slicer. Let's say we are interested in creating a slicer with a segment. Where is the second segment? I'm gonna hit OK. So it's gonna show all the options, segment option in this slicer. As you see, it's movable. You can move around. Even you can change the color. Notice here when I select the segment right,
Mhm.
now the contextual tab is changed to slicer because we're
Okay.
working with this slicer. If I go here, pivot table, it's going to change the pivot table analyze. So depending
Mhm.
on where you at, so the tabs will change.
Mhm.
So in slicer, you have option to change this style. Let's do, for example, this style. Okay. Even we can make it so as you see, it says buttons. These are the buttons. This is the number of columns. It's showing in one column how many rows. Like actually the columns. Let's do the columns. We're gonna do columns 3. So it's gonna make them on the same row 3 columns. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make this small. Then I can move this above here, somewhere here. Let me make more room. I'm gonna adjust the column row width. Just simply drag this down, make it more room. Then we're gonna move this above here.
So slicer is the same as a filter?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
But it is more user-friendly.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see all the items within the field. You can move them, and then just simply, for example, you need to see total profit, average, max, minimum per country in corporate segment.
Oh, it's just a click
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
by clicking, it's gonna filter.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
more
Mhm. More
better. That
user-friendly.
feels, yeah.
If you're going to select multiple items in segment, you have to press Control key, hold down, then you're gonna select multiple options.
Oh.
This is saying like in both segments,
Mhm.
consumer, corporate, here's the total profit, average, mean, maximum per country.
Okay.
In order to remove the filter, you just need to click back on the clear filter right there. It's gonna remove the filter. We can add more slicer. Let's say I need to, again, you have to go here, pivot table analyze. Let's say we need to use another slicer category, product category. We have 3 different categories: furniture, office, technology. So it's up to you. You can go here and change the color. Again, because we have just 3 options, 3 items within categories, product category, I'm going to change the column to 3 to display 3 columns, 1 row. Then I'm going to make this bigger. Then change the height. Move here. Okay. Right. Now we need to see the total profit in segment consumer for products fall in category furniture. Consumer furniture. So as you see, we're trying to apply multiple filters by using the slicer. Home office, technology. Well, I need to look at two categories. Again, in order to select more than one category, so you have to push Ctrl key, hold down. So we have two categories selected in segment, home office, corporate, consumer. Okay. As you notice in the Superstore, we had two fields as a date, order date and shipment date. We can use the filter similar to slicer. We have another tools in pivot table, another feature, another tools. It's called timeline. So the timeline just works with date field. So timeline is not going to work with the customer ID name. So what it's going to do, it's going to list all the fields that are date in the date format. If I click on the insert timeline, it must show only two fields because there are only two fields within the table with the date format, order and ship. Okay, now I need to create the timeline out of the order date. Let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be slightly different than slicer. But again, is the filter, because as you see, both are in the filter grouping.
Okay.
If I hit OK, so it's in this form. Again, when I select order date, you're going to have the timeline contextual tab,
Okay.
which is it. Then you can go ahead and then change for example, I'm going to choose orange. All right, so this is saying so it's showing in the month. You can change the month drop down. Let's do years. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 years of information. Okay. So I need to look at the total profit, average, minimum, max per country for segment consumer selected, two categories technology office in year 2014 or in year 2013. If you're going to select from 2013 through 2015, you're going to need to hover your mouse on the right left edge and drag it across to extend from 2013 through 2015. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let's say I need to look at the total profit consumer office supply technology categories in year 2000, for example, 14. But I need to just run within the year. I just need to look at the total profit in the month of maybe December, November, something like that. So we have to change the year to month here. So as you see, we are in the year 2014 is selected from January. Let me make this a little bit here. So in year 2014 from January runs through December. So I'm just interested in the last quarter. From October through December 2014. That's the total profit, average, max, minimum, segment, consumer, categories, product category, technology, and office supply. So in fact, what we're trying to do, we're trying to create a basic dashboard. It's a simple dashboard that you need one data source. Out of this data source, you create multiple reports.
Okay.
So far, we have created one report. Let's say we can create as many as pivot tables we want. This time, I'm going to create another pivot table. Let me move this up here. Make it smaller. Let me make this, move over here. So let's take a look at the data sheet. This time I want to see the total sales. We're going to see the total sales per different categories. Again, we need to recreate the new pivot table. If we go to A1, Control Shift right arrow key to select all the columns on the same row, Control Shift down arrow key. Then we're going to go to the Insert tab on the Excel ribbon. You're going to go to the Tables grouping, Pivot Table drop down, click Form Table, from Table. This time we're not going to create a new worksheet. I need to place that new pivot table in the existing worksheet. So we have the choice to put here, or we're gonna put on the PT prep. We're gonna place the new pivot table, the second pivot table, in PT underscore practice. So you need to click on this expandable button first. Then you're gonna go to the PT practice. Let's say we need to place it right here. Again, you're gonna click back on that expandable button. Everything's been set correctly. Now we're gonna hit OK. Now we have another empty pivot table report and list of the fields.
Okay.
What we wanted to do, we wanted to list categories. So we're gonna select the categories. We're gonna position. We're gonna drag and drop onto rows section. Then this time I just need to find the total sales. Again, we go here, drop down values, settings. We can change the name to total sales. Function remain the same, sum, number format to currency to decimal places. Okay. So what we're gonna do here, let's say we're trying to create the pie chart. We're gonna create this simple chart. It's called pie chart out of this second pivot table. So in addition to pivot tables, we have charts are called pivot charts. So to create the pivot charts, make sure you're gonna be in the body of the second pivot table. You go to the pivot table analyze tab here. Then under tools, you should see the pivot chart.
Yeah.
So what it's gonna do is gonna create interactive chart, which means if for some, these are all interactive, the pivot tables, and even the pivot charts are interactive, which means if you may change to your data source, data sheet, maybe you're gonna add 10,000. You're gonna append maybe another new 10,000 rows. Maybe you're gonna delete some orders. So your data sheet is changed accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because your data is changed, your pivot tables information is gonna change. The only things you have to do, you're gonna need to go here and refresh all.
Okay.
What it's gonna do is gonna recalculate the profit sales. I mean the profit of the profit, yeah, per order, average, maximum, minimum, and it's gonna re-update all these values.
Okay.
So make sure, like, whenever you make changes, maybe you change the name, you change the order ID, maybe you're gonna go to the end of the file, you're gonna add more items, more order. Once you did that, so you have to go here and then you're gonna update it. Refresh. You're gonna go to the data tab, and then there's an option, it's called refresh all. You're gonna refresh all.
Okay.
Right, back to the pivot chart. So you select the second pivot table, go to pivot table, analyze. Then you're gonna locate pivot chart. So these are the different, charts as available. We are interested in pie chart. Pie chart. So you can do like 3D pie chart. Let's do the 3D pie chart. Hit OK. Okay. All right. So this is showing the total, total sales per category. What we can do, so here it's called fields. We can hide this. Usually I don't use these fields. I usually hide from chart. Just right click one of the gray fields. Then it says hide all the fields button on chart. Okay.
Mhm.
These are called legends: furniture, office, and technology. The orange one, the orange slice, is for office supply, since office supply has the highest percentage of the sales. That's the chart title. If you're going to change the chart title, just select on it, double click. We're going to change to total sales per category, product category. Okay.
Mhm.
How we can add the percentage to the chart. So when you select the chart, you should see the plus sign, upper right corner. You're going to click, it's called chart elements. You're going to click on it. So it gives you different elements. One of the elements is a data label. So we haven't added any data label yet. So you go here, click on the drop down data label. Then you need to go to the more options. It's going to open the format data label on the right hand side. One of the things shows the values. So as you see, the values is pre-checked. So this has been checked, take the value. We can display the values like maybe outside end. These are the total sales. In addition to values, what we can do, we can display the percentage. So we want to ask the user, Excel, to calculate the percentage of each slice. So we need to select the percentage here. And then, okay, I was wrong. So the green one is the highest percentage, 38% of the total sales coming from technology segment, product categories, not from the office supply. All right, so now we have created pivot chart out of pivot table. So which means this pivot chart is linked to this pivot table, and this pivot table is made of this worksheet. If you make any changes to this worksheet, the only things you're going to do, you're going to go to data, refresh all. Once you refresh, it's going to change the values here. Accordingly, it's going to change all the values on the pivot chart. So they are all linked together.
Okay.
Right. So now you will say, okay, we have one filter here, category, not category, segment. How we can If I change the corporate, let's change segment to corporate. Consumer to corporate. You see that the numbers here is not changing. These total sales for different category in the second pivot table are not changing, even if I change segment from corporate to home office. And notice the numbers changing here, not in the second table.
Mm-hmm.
So which means this filter slicer that we created is connected to first pivot table only, not the second one. How we can connect this slicer to two different or more than two pivot tables? The only things you have to, you're going to select the slicer, right click on it. There is an option, it says report connections.
Mm-hmm.
So far we have only one pivot table selected, checked. This is the second pivot table. If I click on it, which means whenever I select any items from the segment, it's going to change the values here. So if I change consumer office to consumer, as you see, the number is going to change and the chart is going to change.
Oh yeah.
So these are, that's why we call them interactive pivot table and interactive pivot charts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to respond to the changes selection you made. If you select corporate, it's going to change. Office is going to change. So now, as you see, little by little, step by step, we just building more feature, and we're going to add them, put them together into one dashboard.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Let's say this is going to be, for example, okay. So let's say, in order to make it like appealing, eye-catching type of dashboards, we need to remove these grid lines or hide all these grid lines. So we go to the View tab. So in the View tab, we have under Show, there is a box that says grid lines. If you uncheck, it's going to remove all the grid lines.
Okay.
So it's making more appealing. Let's say I need to move this pivot table. I'm going to move it. I'm going to put it maybe next to it here. So I would suggest first select the pivot table. Then you're going to go to the pivot table analyze. I think it's here, right? Yeah. So there is actions grouping.
Mm-hmm.
So we have move pivot table. You're going to click on it. It's asking you where you're going to move. In the existing worksheet, then you need to select the cells. You're going to move that pivot table. I need to move this entire pivot table here. And I'm going to click back and hit OK. This is the way you're going to move the pivot tables. But the chart is just easy. Just select and maybe I'm going to position here. Maybe I'm going to put right here. Let's say we need to create line chart. We need to create a line chart out of first pivot table. We go to the pivot charts. I'm going to choose line chart. Okay. Once I hit OK, let's make this a little bit longer. So as I said, like we don't need to display the gray color button. We're gonna hide this. Hide all field buttons. So it does show like total profit, average. We don't need to display like, we're just interested in total profit, but because we have like three additional measures like the average, maximum, mean. That's why it's automatically added four measures to this chart. So we need to get rid of the average, maximum, minimum. We just need the total profit. So to do that, you're going to right click on the chart. Then you're going to locate, select data. So these are the series like legend series. We have total. Let's see if we are able to remove. No, unfortunately, no, we're not going to remove it because this is the pivot charts. You're not going to be able to remove it. The only things we can remove is remove from the table, from the pivot table. Let's close this one. If we take this out, we're gonna take the maximum. Yeah, that's the only way. Unfortunately, in the pivot table, if we created simple chart out of the table, not the pivot table, then we should be able to do that. But in the pivot table, we cannot do it. Okay. So now it's showing all the countries, right? It's kind of mind-boggling. So it's so many countries, it's very difficult to read, I just wanna, for example, display the top 5 countries in total profit. How we can return only the top 5 countries in terms of profit. When you are here, you're gonna click on this drop-down row labels, value. You're gonna go to the value filter drop-down, then you're gonna locate top 10.
Okay.
I'm going to change the top 10 to top 5. What it's saying, this pivot table display all the countries, but I need to display only top 5 countries. By what? By total profit. If I hit OK, it's going to show only 5 countries. This is much easier to handle, control the report.
Okay.
Now let's say I'm interested in what? I'm interested in corporate. I'm interested in consumer. Let me move this a little bit here. Okay, so in the segment consumer, these are the top 5 country. These are the top 5 country by total profit, which is for technology, for example, technology segment, or category office supply. Under category technology, these are the top 5 countries. So I think the first one is the France. In consumer segment, consumer segment, category technology, from October through December 2015, here's the top 5 countries by total profit. Okay, and it's going to show the graph here. We can change this graph. Let's change. What if you change your mind? You're going to say, I'm not interested in line. I need to change to bar chart. You're going to go here. Actually, let me see, design. You're going to go to design tab. Then under type, grouping, click change chart type. Let's do this chart, column chart. Okay. Now we have created 2 separate charts, pivot charts. One pie chart of the furniture,
Mhm.
filter by segment. Another is just the top 5 countries. Later, if you're going to change, you can change it to top 10, top 8. So it's up to you. You can change just simply go here, value filter, and change top 5. Let's do top 6 or top 8. So as you see, the chart will change accordingly because these are all interactive. These are all interconnected.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let's stop here. So next time, maybe next week when we can start where we left off, which is here. So I will show you more features in the pivot table.
Okay. So
And
next class do pivot table more features.
yeah,
Okay.
next time we're gonna do again, like I will show you more feature in the pivot table. Then we're gonna start building very interactive, cool type of tools. I mean dashboards out of
Okay.
this superstore. Then I'll show you more features in the pivot table.
Okay.
Then after we complete the pivot table, we can move on to work with the functions, different type. I
Mhm.
mean, kind of like popular function you're gonna see at work, like not all the function, as you notice, like we have so many function. We have
Mhm.
financial, logical, text. We're gonna talk about those function, popular function, which is very popular at work. You use
Okay.
frequently.
Okay.
Then we will talk, we're gonna work with the formulas. We're gonna talk about the names. These are the things you have to know, the names, the tables, how to create the tables,
Mhm.
conditional formatting, one of the cool things you may use it. We
Mhm.
may talk about some statistical tools on the data. We have for data analysis tools, we have like different analysis tools, like for example, descriptive, like running forecasting, histogram.
Mhm.
These are the tools you're gonna need at work to conduct some data analysis.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about on the home tab, as I say, conditional formatting. This is something that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about, like, as I said, data analysis, creating, for example, data validation, how to create data validation. If we have time, then we're gonna talk about one of the powerful tools in Excel is called Power Query. How we're gonna extract the data, connect data to the multiple extra sources. Let's say you have your data, it's in the SQL. Maybe your data in Access, in another text file. You
Mhm.
need to make a connection to that file, pull data from there into the Excel, and do some analysis. Instead of carrying the data with you, you can make a connection to those data sources. So in order to do that, we're gonna need to know how to use get and transform data. That's the powerful tools introduced in Excel.
Okay.
All right. I will send this file. I'm going to attach this file to Wyzan. You can grab from the Wyzan.
Okay.
Next, do you want to meet this week, right, for SQL?
So next class is SQL.
Yeah, we can do SQL. So make sure you're going to install. Let me show you.
Yeah, I already did.
Okay, if you have SQL Server,
Mhm.
what version did you install? Did you install the latest version of
Yes, I
SQL
think
Server
2022
2022?
Express
Okay, if you have 2000, you're gonna search for, Google it for Adventure
Adventure.
Works. Yeah, Adventure Works 2022. This is the sample database. We're gonna use it to run queries.
Oh, so we use this for the data.
Yeah, this is gonna be the database we're gonna use it.
Okay, so I can.
This
Oh, it's already built in.
it's on the Google. Google it, you're gonna find, I think it's on the Microsoft website.
Oh, so I can download it
Yeah,
and
download it.
upload.
Yeah, I'll show you how you're gonna upload. Just download it, make it ready. Next
Okay.
time, when we meet next time, I'm gonna show you how to, we need to upload that back file.
Mm-hmm.
And that back file, as you see, it has so many tables.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna use this table. I'm gonna show you how to run the queries
Okay.
against these tables.
Okay.
All right, next time. So today's Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you meet same time on Thursday?
Thursday,
Thursday,
same
this
time.
Thursday.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, then I schedule this Thursday same time, and I send this file back to you, the Excel.
Okay, Thursday, 6 p.m. on my time.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. One more question. So we don't use the Wyzen to
No,
schedule. We just
we use just Zoom for
mm-hmm.
communication. Zoom is much better, but I'm gonna submit all the lesson through the Vyzen. You will be charged to the Vyzen. You don't need to pay me directly.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. So you said what?
You will be charged to the Vyzen. I will submit this lesson, this 1 hour to the Vyzen.
You submit to the Wyzen so that I can download or?
The file, you're talking about the file?
Oh yeah, yeah, the file. Yeah.
Oh, the file. I thought you were
Okay.
saying like,
Oh, I
yeah.
mean, I mean, a schedule like how we schedule. We just schedule off. We don't schedule like on the platform.
Oh, I'll show you. So I go here. This is how I schedule. I go here. I have the
Yeah,
schedule on my. I go here. So I'm gonna go to select
Thursday.
Thursday. My time is gonna be 8. Your time is 6
Okay.
because you're in the Pacific time, right? PDT.
Yes, Pacific
And
time.
then I'm gonna change online.
Mhm.
SQL. It's done.
Okay.
Then I'm going to attach the file here. Let me attach the file and you can
Okay.
have it. Let me save it before we go. Give me a second. Save. Okay, your file, it's under two term files. Excel, where is that? Excel students. And I'm gonna
Uh,
find, where is your name? Yeah, right there.
but actually it's YAO.
Yeah, YA, okay, I have to change it, sorry.
YAO.
Sorry about that, I have to
No
change it.
problem. Okay.
So here is your file, is
Hmm.
XLSX, it's 13 megabytes, and it's uploading.
Okay.
It's gonna take a while to show up on your end.
Okay.
I
What
will
about
schedule on
payment?
Thursday.
What about payment?
Payment, because I'm gonna submit on Vyzen, you will be charged automatically through the Vyzen.
So I pay
You have
through
the
the
payment
Wyzen.
information. You have a payment information on file, right, with Vyzen.
I think so. I don't remember. So I
Okay, yeah,
I I just pay you
it's
through the
here.
Vyzen, right?
You don't need to pay me. The Vyzen pay. Once Vyzen will charge you, and I will
Okay.
pay
So
through the Vyzen automatically.
Wyzen will charge me
Mhm,
automatically.
mhm.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, because I see here you are green.
Hmm.
You have a payment information on file.
Okay. Got it. So after this class, the Vyzen will send a payment information inquiry to me request, and then I pay, right?
And because you have a payment information, they're gonna deduct from your account, from your credit automatically.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna submit only 1 hour for
Hmm.
today.
Thank you so much. This is
You're
first time I
welcome.
use Vyzen, so I need to be
Yeah,
clear.
it's super easy. It's just
Okay.
if the students have some problem, like this student, as you see,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have payment, I mean the correct payment information, they locked their account.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
They know, for example, if they're gonna deduct from cash from their account, if it doesn't work, they're gonna immediately lock the account.
Okay.
All right. Then I see you on Thursday at 6 p.m. your time.
Okay. See you. Bye.
See you. Have a good night. Take care. Bye.